Hello, welcome to Your Flow with Chloe, where it is the 5th of May, and I'm going to read you some stuff that's going on astrologically from the Metamorphosis in Motion Astrological Guide of 2016. First, we have Mars square Jupiter. Tension with squares. Energetic Mars challenges expansive Jupiter, creating a dynamic but potentially impulsive atmosphere. Enthusiasm can easily tip into excess or recklessness. Exercise moderation and avoid unnecessary risks. Harness the powerful energy, constructively channeling it into well-planned actions rather than impulsive moves. Get channeling, everybody. Mercury square Pluto. Oh my God. Communication today could become intense, revealing hidden truths or prompting confrontational challenges. Pluto's influence calls for deep honesty, but watch for power struggles and harshness. Embrace the opportunity to transform your perspective through the meaningful and brave dialogues. Great time for investigation and research. So that's it on that. Right, I am going to use a bit of a pairing of world reflections and the unfolding path. I think I used this recently as a combination and I quite liked what was going on with it. I'm going to go in first with the unfolding path. Let's see what's unfolding in the universe according to the cards. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. Just had a bank holiday weekend here. Oh, they're nice, 3. They're okay, we'll take them. Just had a bank holiday weekend. Sadly, as it often does in the UK, as soon as it's a bank holiday, you get all excited. It's been absolutely fabulous weather all week. You're really looking forward to those 3 full days off. And then, no, the weather suddenly turns overcast with storms. Thank you, UK bank holidays, for delivering your usual kind of turd. I really shouldn't complain though. The weather spirits might curse me and make it even worse than it already is. Okay, so our first card out is the Ace of Wands. Straight to the point. Pure air energy, fast communication and mental clarity, which we like. Knight of Pentacles, kind of a different energy. Like when we have this ace, it's like whoosh, going places fast, mental clarity, straight to the point. And then the Knight of Pentacles, he is a Virgo Knight, so he does like to get to the point, but it's eventually. He's focusing more on the overall growth. It's quite slow paced because the Knights are fire. Their energy is fire, and it's whatever suit they belong to acting with the energy of fire. And this is Earth with fire. It also gives us Virgo. But Earth, chuck a load of earth on top of a fire and it puts it out, doesn't it? So it's not particularly like going with the drive and the passion of your usual Knight. It's more meticulous planning, assessing the structures, maybe doing a little data chart. Going around like surveying the boundaries. Could anyone break in here? Better fix that, Are all the people over in this part of the kingdom getting on? What can I do to make life better for them? It's very like act of service, there for the long haul, but it's not like, it's not quite this Ace of Swords energy. Then we have another very earthy card, which is the Eight of Pentacles. And I believe, is this one Virgo as well? I think it is a Virgo one as well. It's very much about where you have put in the hard work and the dedication over time. So it goes quite well with this Knight of this sort of slow building, meticulous energy, and then, you know, establishing all of this growth and really mastering the skill. Virgo always wants to achieve mastery. They get there quite slowly, and always checking the minutiae, and all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted and all that. But really working hard, really dedicated and focused on details, very detail orientated. And we can say, you know, a dancer, a ballet dancer, you know, they put in the practice, they put in the slog every day behind the scenes. And Virgo is that very kind of behind the scenes energy that you've been pumping into a project or a pathway, or, you know, getting where you're going to. Then we have some fire. Nine of Wands. Very much about standing your ground, holding your boundary. I'm standing the ground, I'm protecting my firepower. And she's holding a line in defense. And often that 9 energy is where something is kind of built up. And so you might feel like you've come such a long way pursuing a passion, or putting out little fires of passionate opinions of others, and you're having to really stand strong and hold your own in order to just like push over that final hurdle. But the good news is we break free from it. We do find that energy with the Knight. The Knight is fire energy in fire sign of Wands. Fire suit, of Wands. And as you can see, super energized, get up and go, like da da da. The finishing line, like standing strong. It's almost like marathon-like. I'm getting this marathon-like energy. It's almost like this massive idea, inspiration, kind of clarity of like, I have an idea, ding, light bulb. Then it's like putting in all of the slog, all of the detail, all of the refinement with these two very earthy, Virgo-y, detail-orientated cards, and like working towards it, planning, rechecking, you know, doing all the things to get to the finish line. Then it's like, stand strong in your passion about, you know, why you want to do this and what you want to achieve, and stand strong in that boundary when maybe things have been pushing up against it, and give it that final slog. You know, the way you like kind of like keep going through a marathon, holding that pace, even though like, you know, your muscles are all bloody burning and you could really do with a massive rehydration, and your heart's like boom, 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 boom. But, you know, it's like the finishing line, it's there. I found the, like, you know, whoosh, going over it, find that last bit of valor to storm ahead and win with it, and just see it over the edge. Then, interestingly, quite contrastly, we get the Hanged Man. We get the Hanged Man on the row below and a colour match to this Ace of Swords, which is quite interesting because it's like the Ace of Swords is this epiphany. The crown chakra is very lit, hence we have the crown around the tip, the peak of the sword, and the sword is almost, you know, like the spine and the energy travelling straight up. Ding! And in the Hanged Man, this, you're sort of inverting, and the realization is very much within. So in the swords is more of an outward idea, expression, a communication about it, with it being swords. With this Hanged Man card, it's a Neptune card, so it's very much an intuitive, imaginative, internalized crown chakra going ding. It's like inverting the energy and going within, soul searching, searching your subconscious to achieve this realization. So it's like having an outward realization, having an inward realization, and drawing that energy back. Like, we've had this moment of fire, like, I've got there. Now it might be time to take a step back and go within and have a moment's pause to spiritually ascend. Because we've got a lot of like sort of action, real life, putting the work in with those earthy cards, and lots of, you know, external passion with those fire cards. And then the Hanged Man, it's very like watery, it's very calm, it's very serene and inward. And it's very about spiritual ascension. And so I feel like we've had all of this outward get up and go, and now it's time to have some inward realizations about where that has now completed us in some way. We also have the Six of Cups, more water, harmony, and we have this little girl, you know, sniffing the cup with all these posies, and just all the cups are full of blossoms and blooming flowers, and it's like sharing the joy of the abundance. And we have it below this Knight of Pentacles, who also is, you know, representing many plants. And it's like putting the work in, enjoying the blossoms and the bloom emotionally of this. I've put in the work and now it's paying me back out. This nice harmonious balance of putting work and energy in, getting something back out, sharing it, and finding this bliss with it, this harmonious bliss of balance. We then get the Hierophant, which is a very Taurian card, and we are in Taurus season. And it's very much about spiritual ascension, spiritual discipline, and it represents, you know, like gurus and spiritual leaders. And it's interesting that we just had this Hanged Man here. And I was talking about, you know, we've reached some kind of ascension of putting in loads of physical energy into something and building towards something. And like, because we did it, whatever we've been putting all this work into, we did it. Then we have this very spiritual ascension because of that. And this very real life. And we have this, you know, with the Earth cards, it is like something that's real life situations that have maybe spiritually empowered us and we feel solid and strong both in reality and spiritually. So all good, really. And then we get the Page of Wands, which is just pure fire energy, which again is like finding the spark, finding that inner light, and having a new kind of outwardly realization, therefore. So it's like all this journeying we're doing and putting out the energy, and then sort of combining it internally to have this real life stability and reignition of where to go next with it. I'm going to take some from Wild Reflections now. And we have the Tower. The old ways come tumbling down. It's quite interesting that we have the Hierophant there as well, because it represents traditional systems and structures, and the Tower is all about the breaking of tradition. And allowing the old way to tumble. We then have the King of Wands, so more fire. That is very Mars ruled. Then we have the Sun, massive solar energy. She bangs the gong. Something is coming in, something new is coming in. And we have the Ten of Pentacles. Earthly, abundant, bountifulness. The big sunflowers, the lighthouse, like shining your light out bright. The lighthouse again is like a big beacon of light and hope. And the sunflowers, they grow up, they grow strong, and they blossom in full illumination. I'm just going to do a bit of looking through these. So with that Hierophant there, we may have had this realization of an ascension in both our tangible, real life ongoings, where we feel like we have peaked somehow, but also this spiritual uprising of wanting to feel complete there as well. And the fact that we then have this Wands card, Page of Wands, it's like re-embarking again. So it's like almost like off on a new quest, where the old way and the way maybe we were going about doing things before, where we were putting in so much energy and so much work, yes, it paid off, but is it the right way to go about it? Is it what we want spiritually, what we have achieved materially? Does it fit both our material world, so Madonna, and our spiritual soul self? And it's interesting that we have this Mars energy again. There's a lot of fire. I'm just getting the book back over here, because Mercury square Pluto and Mars square Jupiter. Jupiter is a massive, expansive spiritual planet. And we have some quite spiritual cards with the Hanged Man. and the Hierophant there. We also have this very sort of mercurial zing energy. Mercury also rules Virgo, and I feel these two cards here are very Virgo-y. And the Tower, 9, the Knight, and the Page of Wands, all fire. And this is also ruled by Mars. Sudden change, this sudden things coming down. And with so much Mars and Mercury in squares to planets like Pluto that are very transformative, and the King of Wands being Mars ruled, so more fire energy. There is like intense communication, both externally and internally, like very transformative messages coming through. And there is this need to kind of take mastery with these cards here, with the Hierophant and that King of Wands. And the Sun, a lot of yang energy, like boom, banging the gong, big fireball in the sky. But the Sun is always super positive yang energy. It's, vitality, radiance, maximum potential of success. The Sun is all about success. And the Ten of Pentacles is all about material, worldly success. We need healthy doses of sun to make our sunflowers grow big and strong. So there is definitely a lot here about the energy we are putting out and what we are getting back, and how it transforms us spiritually and energetically. And whilst there is so much sort of that fire, air kind of wow, we do need to have these moments to go within and soul search and double check with our intuition about how it's all sitting with us, and make wise about our sort of spiritual ascension, and letting that intuition and that passion guide us towards our success, so that we can be, the master of our own realm, king of our own castle. And it's going to be deeply transformative, and we have to be ready to dip into our intuition and take fast action and make spiritual decisions and intuitive decisions quite quickly, so that we don't sort of miss the boat on when the energy is right for it and the opportunity. But we need it to be, as the book said, not impulsive. There was a bit in here that Pluto's influence calls for deep honesty, but watch for power struggles and harshness. So bit of this kind of tension of internal, external. Embrace the opportunity to transform your perspective through meaningful and brave dialogues. And that's what I feel is very much here. And it says, Mars challenges expansive Jupiter, creating a dynamic, but potentially impulsive atmosphere. So we need to be watching for impulsivity because it could lead to recklessness. So exercise moderation and avoid unnecessary risks. So there's this big balance between having these impulses, really feeling like, oh yes, this is what I want, this, I'm feeling really drawn by this thing and it's calling to me. We don't want to act with harshness or take silly risks. And so harness the power of your energy constructively, channeling it into well-planned actions rather than impulsive motives. And that's here with these earth cards: meticulous planning, solid decisions, like you've checked the details, and also you've kind of like took a step back, fully considered, had a bit of a patient moment, and balanced your earthly rulership and your earthly rulership energy with your like spiritual knowledge and expansion. That is what I'm getting. It's not the most clear one sentence summary. I am going to pull a card from the Green Witch's Oracle deck, because I feel like we need to go into some grounded. We want the abundance, but we want the groundedness about it. So Green Witch feels right. We get spring and sow. Spring. Nice little nest of eggs there. Rebuilding, awakening and rebirth, which we do have a fair bit of on the table. Much transformative energy, much kind of yang energy, things awakening. Then we also have sow, and we have the seed here. Planning, setting intentions and optimism. So planning, setting intentions and optimisms. And I think the planning is a very key word there. And the awakening is a very key word there. Because we have these very awakening cards with all the light bulbs and the kind of stimulated energies of passion, but we also have these planning energies of putting in the right amount of structure into what we're doing so that we don't end up in a tower moment in a bad way, where like everything we're building towards comes down in a bad way. We want this big yes, success, massive optimal growth of real life abundance. And that is the reading. Thank you for watching Flow with Chloe. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day.